那你最讨厌的国呢？
就是美国和日本。
这么讨厌啊？为什么呢？
我是好人还是坏人，我都可。
中华要灭亡，无奈先自绝。上华沙尼，战斗指示，凭着打开加战，后方及强大的火力，与南方对峙。上华沙尼。
那你长大了想干什么呢？
想杀日本人，想杀美国人。有一回我恨得流鼻血。
Yo, watch this. This is in China, by the way. China. Little kids, bro. See how fast that was? First day of school, there's an article related to this. Y'all seeing this? This is crazy, bro. Amazing too. It's amazing. There's also a second video after this one. Watch this. Watch this. Bruh. First day of school. China. Yep, grade 1 students spend first day firing guns. They're not playing games. It says this activity is called National Defense Education Program, pointing out that it is necessary to strengthen the national defense education of young people. What do you think about this?
Galala Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Ba Hashem, Rahakwadash, double honors to the elders of GMS Ruel, blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah. Today's lesson, war is coming. Chinese kids being trained and taught to hate Americans. That is today's lesson according to the video. And while many seek peace, we are here to inform you that we are currently in the inevitable biblical prophecies of war. Everything has a season and a time. As soon as the CH to the IP of Charagma is implemented upon the world, then cometh the great war to end all wars. Then cometh that greater war to end all wars. And with that being said, let's go over to the scripture of Ecclesiastes 3 and 8. Ecclesiastes 3 and 8. A time to love and a time to hate, a time of war and a time of peace. Now the opposite of love is hate, and the opposite of war is peace. The time of peace is long gone, and the time of war is now upon the many hearts of the nations, especially upon the minds of the Chinese. The opposite of love is hate, and the opposite of peace is war, once again. In this wicked world, talks of peace are temporary, since Esau, Edom, has always lived by the sword. He never keepeth at home. Peace talks have failed, and high tensions between the nations continue. They remain. The Great War of Armageddon will only come about when that electronic sihib is fully implemented. And what the entire world is witnessing firsthand are the first stages of that greater war to come. There is no peace in sight. War preparations continue, but the worst is yet to come. An all-out inevitable war will bring about much death and destruction to many places on earth, especially upon Babylon the Great, which is America. The Lord, Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai, is the best strategist when it comes to war tactics. The Lord himself is a man of war, and he's the one that's controlling all these aspects of war in these times. Exodus 15:3, the Lord, Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, is a man of war. The Lord is his name. The Lord is a man of war. Yahweh, Bahashem, Yahushai is his name. Yahweh, Bahashem, meaning in the name of, Yahushai is his name, Yahweh. As soon as the Sihib MO to the TB is implemented worldwide and the elect are sealed, then the angels of the Lord shall be loosened to bring about great tribulation unto Babylon the Great and the rest of the world. Let's go to that scriptural prophecy of Revelation 9:14. Revelation 9:14, saying to the sixth angel which had the trumpet, loose the four angels which are bound in the great river Euphrates. To be bound means to be restricted, as in the case of the angels of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai. The angels of the Lord are bound due to biblical prophecy. But as soon as these few remaining prophecies are fulfilled, they will no longer be restricted. The angels are holding the winds back for the sake of prophecy and the elect of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai. Once they are sealed, they shall bring destruction. And the elders believe that they are sealed already. They're just waiting for these prophecies to come to pass. The main prophecy of the Sihib of Revelation 13:16. But as soon as the four angels are let loose, that greater war of Armageddon, which means the mountain of the troops, will come quickly. There's no stopping the inevitable prophecies of the Lord, Yahweh Wa Yahushai. There is no stopping the inevitable. After the greater war, after the great war, there shall be peace. And no nation will lift up arms against another nation, as it says in the scripture of Isaiah 2:4. Isaiah 2:4, and he shall judge among the nations, and shall rebuke many people, and they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. And the scripture of Isaiah 2:4 is also found in the scripture of Micah 4:3. But after the great war, there shall be peace. For the nations shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore. But there shall be a greater war. World War III is prophecy, and that shall come. A war to end all wars. It's going to be nuclear. Their swords shall be beaten into plowshares, and their spears made into pruning hooks. After World War III, there shall be peace. And all weapons of war shall be broken down to bring about productive tools of cultivation. On that day, a nation shall not rise up against another nation, or lift up a sword against another nation. Neither shall they learn war anymore. This is when it's all said and done. The only difference is that the nations will be in slavery due to them partaking in the captivity of the children of Israel under the hands of Esau, Edom. The beginning stages of that great war have begun. And soon enough, that draft of soldiers shall be fully implemented. Make no mistake, war is on the horizon and it is coming. The West has already stirred up the captains and kings of the Medes, which are the Russians, and there's no turning back. Once America put boots on the ground and supplied Ukraine with many weapons, that was an act of war against Russia. There's no turning back. World War III has begun in its first stages. With that being said, let's go over to Jeremiah 51 and 28. Jeremiah 51 and 28. Prepare against her the nations with the kings of the Medes, the captains thereof, and all the rulers thereof, and all the land of his dominion. And the West has stirred up the juggernaut forces of the modern day Medes, which are the Russians, and it cannot be undone. The scripture of Jeremiah 50 and verse 9 says that the Lord Yahweh Yahushua will cause to come up against Babylon an assembly of great nations from the north country. And Russia itself is located to the very far north. But on that day, these other nations, along with these stirred up kings of the Medes, its captains and the rulers thereof, shall come up against Babylon the Great, which is America. They will not regard silver or gold, and their only purpose shall be to burn her with fire. That's biblical prophecy. Jeremiah 51 and verse 29. And the land shall tremble and sorrow, for every purpose of the Lord shall be performed against Babylon, to make the land of Babylon a desolation without an inhabitant. Russia will strengthen their ties with the other nations to come up against Babylon the Great. And once the chess pieces fall into place, Babylon shall become desolate without an inhabitant. It's prophesied that modern day Babylon shall become a desert of wild birds. This is all prophecy. The worst world war to come is on the horizon. And while the United States has remained the top world superpower, now you are seeing threats from Russia, Iran, North Korea, and now China, to name a few. Look at the way China trains their children. They're getting ready. Preparations are being made everywhere. The U.S. truly has its hands full with all these enemies. There is even an article which claims that Americans are hated by 31 countries, as you see here. But from the video that you just saw, even the Chinese children are being trained efficiently at a young age to come up against America, while the U.S. struggles with the agenda of ineligible recruits fit for service criteria. The U.S. struggles with obesity in the military, with the agenda of ineligible recruits fit for service, etc. That's online. One thing that I can say about China is that they know about the importance to produce offspring, to reproduce. Even their own children are taught at an early age, according to the video. That's why they got the military numbers they got. The numbers they got have enabled them to branch out and set up artificial islands for the sole purpose of dividing and conquering. Also, they have the manpower to set up spy embassies in Cuba. Who knows where else they have them? Now there's talks about Honduras. But America, on the other hand, destroys family values in every which way. Just look at the problem with the Transformers issue and the alphabet community, even in military. Look at the current war of America, Ukraine versus Russia. Esau Edom continues to fight against Esau Edom, and both sides are being brought down by the sword of his own brother, according to the scripture of Haggai 2:22. But the time comes when China itself and the rest of these other nations will take part in that greater war against the West. For what was done unto the nation of Israel, these curses and judgments of the Lord Yahweh Yahushai are now flipping unto the nation of Esau Edom, which is the so-called white race, and unto these other nations that were in league with them. With all the problems of Esau Edom in these end times, Babylon the Great is destined to lose. The Holy Scriptures have said to warn them from me in the scripture of Ezekiel 33:7. And that is exactly what the men of the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, are doing upon the four corners of this earth. They are warning other Israelites of the evil Sihib to come, and warning you of that greater war that will be fought with that much burning and fuel of fire. That's found in Isaiah 9:5. Isaiah 9:5. For every battle of the warrior is with confused noise, and garments rolled in blood, but this shall be with burning and fuel of fire. Every battle fought in history has brought much confused noise, from the noise of war cries unto the noise of swords and spears striking upon shields, to siege towers and battering rams upon the gates of the city walls. Much confused noise. Those past wars brought much confused noise, but in the third world war to come, there will be much burning and fuel of fire when the missiles strike their strategic targets. Many people think that China has the numbers to rule the next world to come. But the Lord, Yahweh Yahushai, has other plans for the nation of Moab. According to the scripture of Psalms 60 and verse 8, they shall be his washpot. The true children of Israel shall rule in the next world to come, under the righteous rule of the Lord Yahweh Yahushai and King David. We cannot forget about King David. It is destined for so-called Negroes, Latinos, and Native American Indians to rule at the top once again. The kingdom shall be translated unto Israel. What's coming unto these warmongering nations in the next righteous world to come is slavery for the crimes committed on the true children of Israel, on the true sons of Israel. But as far as these nations go, they prepare for war. The greater war builds. But with that being said, Gaulallah Malak Yahweh, Wa Yahushai, Ba'ashem, Rahakwadash, and double honors to the elders of GMS who rule well. Blessings unto those men, and blessings and salutations to the Akim out there in truth, pushing this word in all sincerity. With that being said, Shalom Israel, Barakatah.